Hi everybody, I'm Mia and today I'm bringing you all the books that I read in May. So as you may or may not know, in May I did the Owl's Magical Readathon. It's actually a readathon that was run in April, but I decided to do it a month later because it has two parts, the Owls and then the Newts, which are in August, and I wanted to do the Newts. So of course I had to do the Owls first. This Magical Readathon is run by the lovely G at Book Roast. I will link her announcement video if you're like me and you want to do this readathon a bit late before the Newts in 2 months. So, some reading statistics before we start the video. So I read 8 books in May, which is a new personal record for me. 5 fantasies, 2 dystopian and 1 contemporary. 4 middle grade and 4 young adult, 7 that were part of a series and 1 that was a standalone. Oh, it was a very good reading month. I had 3 4-stars and 5 5-star books. So this means I did in fact succeed in becoming a Hogwarts professor, so I have looked the part kind of. So I'm supporting each house, so I'm wearing my Hufflepuff t-shirt because that is my house. I've got my red scrunchie for Gryffindor, blue denim jacket for Ravenclaw, and I have a snake necklace for Slytherin. So starting from the start of the month, I started with Twilight by Stephanie Meyer, which wasn't actually in my readathon, but I started it and I wanted to finish it. This book is about, you've probably heard me talk about it numerous times because I'm trying to get through the series, but it's about a girl named Isabella Swan who moves to Forks to live with her dad so that her mum can move in with her new boyfriend. When she's at Forks, she meets a strange human character, I suppose, named Edward Cullen, and she's like, what's up with this guy? Something's not right, and she decides to investigate what he is. This one was a 4-star read for me. My hopes were very low for Twilight because I had heard different things about it, mostly bad, to be honest, but I thought since it was a fantasy and so well known, I thought I would give it a go, and I ended up thinking it was pretty good. 4 out of 5 stars. Solid. So the next 2 books kind of go together because they're in the same series, and they are the first 2 books that I started of the readathon because Twilight, of course, I didn't read as part of the readathon, and those books are the first 2 books in the Heroes of Olympus series by Riordan. We have The Lost Hero and The Son of Neptune, both amazing middle grade / young adult. I'll probably call them more middle grade, to be honest. Both fantasy and both amazingly deserving of their 5-star rating, honestly. So The Lost Hero, we have, it's kind of, well, the series as a whole is kind of a spin-off of the original beautiful Percy Jackson series, which you can kind of see down here. So in that series we have Percy Jackson, who is a demigod. We go through his journey of finding out what this means and his amazing quests and things. And then in this series we incorporate Greek and Roman mythology and its differences, its similarities, all of that. And we have 3 new demigods, Jason, Piper and Leo. Yes. And Annabeth is kind of in it too. At the start of the book, Percy is missing and they're all like, what's going on here? And Jason wakes up on a bus not knowing anything about himself, even the only thing he knows is his name. And he meets Piper and Leo and they go to Camp Half-Blood together, and they have to try and rescue the Queen of the Gods, Hera, who has been held captive, as well as trying to figure out what's happened to Percy. So these books are totally amazing. I would definitely recommend them if you have finished the Percy Jackson series and you don't really know if you want to continue. You gotta continue. There are 3 more books in the series, I think. Yeah, the Mark of Athena, House of Hades and the Blood of Olympus, which I obviously want to read all of them because I am such a Rick Riordan stan. I can't wait to have read all of the books, even though there are quite a few. But I am excited. All of the Rick Riordan books I have here I got from this massive box which my mum bought for me and my sister. It was like 50 books for $40 or something. What a steal. The Lost Hero covers my Transfiguration prompt, which was to read a book that includes shapeshifting, and the Son of Neptune includes the Defense Against the Dark Arts prompt, which was a book set at the sea or on the coast. So the fourth book which I read in May was Becoming Jinn by Goldstein. This is a fantasy book about Azra, who is a Jinn. A Jinn is a genie. On their 16th birthday, they get a bangle which releases their magic, and they are able to grant people wishes and that, you know, as you do. So, with an average rating of, I think it was around 3.5 stars on Goodreads, I didn't have the highest expectations for this book. Now, basically for the first half, it was a solid 2-star. I was prepared to give it 2 stars, okay? It was very boring, I couldn't seem to get into it, and then something happened in the book, which I'm obviously not going to say, which made me kind of appreciate the magic system, genie system going on in it or something. I don't know, whatever you would call it. And I thought, well, if someone's had this idea to create this whole thing, it's got to be worth a 3-star. And then something else happened in the book, which was this major plot twist, which I was like, oh my god, amazing. 4 stars. So good. And I definitely did not want to continue when I started reading this book, but there is a sequel and a companion prequel thing, which I will read as well. Very excited. This is a young adult book. This one covered the prompt of a book that includes witches, but now I see it, genies and witches kind of aren't the same thing, but I guess they could be related, or who knows. Yeah, so the next 2 books go hand in hand, and they are, of course, The Hunger Games and Catching Fire, both by Suzanne Collins. The Hunger Games covered the astronomy prompt, I think, which was to read a book when it's dark outside, and Catching Fire covered the prompt for Charms, which was to read a book with a white cover. Kind of a white cover, I guess. These books were amazing. 5 stars. Whew. I enjoyed Catching Fire more. Unpopular opinion, I liked it better. So yeah, well, if you somehow don't know what The Hunger Games is about, The Hunger Games is set in a city of Panem, which I believe is like a conquered USA or something after a war, and when the city was like being started and stuff, they had lots of uprisings because of people, of course people didn't want to be like confined to their districts and things. So each year there is the Hunger Games, which reminds the citizens of Panem that they cannot be defeated. They will always be ruled under the capital. So our main character, Katniss, is this Spitfire girl. She's amazing at archery, and she will do anything to protect her family. So this comes into account when her sister, Primrose Everdeen, is chosen for the Hunger Games. She volunteers for her sister, so her sister, like, doesn't go, you know, die. So Katniss goes into the Hunger Games, where she will fight it out to the death, pretty much. And the book takes us through that whole thing, and it's so amazing. Probably my favourite dystopian, although Divergent's pretty close up there as well. Book 7 that I read in May was Wonder by Rj Palacio. I'm still not sure how to say her last name. So this is a middle grade contemporary, which is probably my favourite contemporary now, actually. So Wonder follows this kid named August Pullman, who has a genetic condition which his face doesn't really look like what you'd expect on a child, and we follow his kind of journey, I guess, into school and what he does to avoid, you know, being bullied and things. This one was really heartwarming and sweet, and there are some companion books as well, I believe, so I may or may not read those. I don't know. See what I'm feeling, you know. This one covered the prompt Muggle Studies, which was to read a contemporary. And the last book, which I actually don't have because it's my dad's, I read the first Chronicle of Narnia, which in my book, I know they're in different orders in some books, because on Goodreads it came up as number 6, but it was the first one in my dad's book, so not really sure what that's about. But it was The Magician's Nephew, and the Chronicles of Narnia are by C.S. Lewis, I believe. So, you know the original story of Narnia, right? People find a wardrobe, then go into it and find Narnia. But this is more of a prequel story. The story that I read, The Magician's Nephew, alludes a lot to The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, which I was kind of fine with because I kind of knew the story already. And it was very helpful to have that first story as a prequel. So we have these two kids, Diggory and Polly, who Diggory's uncle is this magician and he's kind of investigating in magic and things, and then Polly touches one of his magic rings and is whisked away to a place. Yeah, a place. A magical place. You know, I'm not going to say where because that will kind of spoil partially it. And then Diggory, of course, being the noble person that he is, he must go and find her, and then there's this matching, so the yellow rings transport you away, and then the green ones transport you back. So he takes 2 green ones with him and touches the yellow, and he tries to bring back Polly from wherever she's gone. So, and of course they see all these magical creatures and go into these magical worlds, and it is just, I loved it. I honestly loved it. I have read the Chronicles of Narnia before. My dad read them to me when I was 12 maybe? I don't know, it was a good time. And it was great, it was kind of cool to see how much of the story that I remembered actually from when I was a little small child. Yeah, I gave that one 5 stars, and it was fantasy, and it was pretty awesome. So I guess I'm partway to becoming a Hogwarts professor now. Overall, I think that was a pretty solid reading month. I had a new best and mostly 5-star reads actually. But I hope June's going to go the same way. At the moment, it's not looking amazing, but, you know, we're going to hold out hope. So thank you to each and every one of you for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you feel the desire to do so.